What up, though, people? It is Wake Up Woodward, and it's time to TLB. I'm excited about this one because it's a player that just burst onto the scene for all Lions fans. I didn't see any Detroit Lions fans talking about this player beforehand, but now he's one of the favorites out of this draft, and especially the phone call with Ms. Ford, the phone call, and the interview that he just did with the St. Brown's.
Yes, and this first clip, it comes courtesy of the St. Brown podcast, their X page. This is the one getting drafted, probably the coolest night of my life, I'd say. JB's going to play it, we're all going to listen, and we're going to react to it to start off, and we're going to react to more as the segment goes on. So go ahead, JB, if you would, please.
Yep.
We got the one and only third-round pick of the Detroit Lions, Isaac Teslaa. He actually just corrected me. I was saying it wrong the whole time. But we got him here. I know you Lions fans want to hear him talk. So we thought, the best person to have, the first person to have on, because we haven't been on in a while, is none other but Isaac. So, Isaac, welcome. How you been? How was the draft? I mean, how was, getting drafted? Rookie premiere, tell me about it.
I mean, that's a long process right there. I mean, getting drafted, probably the coolest night of my life, I'd say. Getting that call. Getting drafted to the team I've been watching since I was a kid.
Right.
I've been rooting on for however long.
That's great.
I mean, surreal feeling, and then obviously to get in the facility, go through mini camp. Now we're starting to do things with y'all, the vets, man. It's exciting stuff.
Man, I love how enthusiastic he is to be a Detroit Lion and to be here, man. Obviously, we know what the connection is, and he talked about, maybe it's a clip that's going to be in there, so I'll save that comment, because he talked about some other things that were pretty cool about his first visit to Allen Park and such. But I just, my first impressions, I love how enthusiastic he is to be here. It seems like all the sports teams are starting to really change what that narrative is. I've always known the Red Wings, that whatever narrative people don't want to come to Detroit, that never applied to them. But now you're hearing people outside this organization, people inside this organization, people who have just gotten here, people who have just gotten drafted here, rookies who want to come here using the code words and all that. Man, that's my first takeaway from this thing.
Oh, yeah, no, there's getting drafted to your hometown team. That's got to be a thrill unlike any other. And if you're Isaac Teslaa, I mean, started off at junior college, wasn't even at times considered the most hyped up receiving prospect on his own team, although he was always the more talented receiver. It's just that he didn't get the targets. He probably wondered at times whether or not he was ever going to get drafted or if football was ever going to be a part of his future. I'm not saying he didn't have confidence, just his route wasn't as linear as being like a 5-star high school player and then dominating in college. So he's going to be somebody who is going to, I think, really uniquely appreciate this opportunity. And he has a personal connection. And I get it. When you get drafted to a team, you get that personal connection. But the fact that Isaac Teslaa, imagine if in his rookie season, he contributes in some way to the Lions' first Super Bowl victory ever. You can't write fairy tales better than this. And he'll join the likes of someone like Aiden Hutchinson, who would also help lift up his hometown team. So, it's got to be a thrill of a lifetime. Happy for him. Very few people get an experience like that in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. And, when you look at the aspect of this guy coming here with the opportunity he has, that's what I love too. There is an opportunity for him to go and take more than what you would traditionally see. And what's really paramount about him sitting down with Amon-Ra St. Brown is that people believe he has the potential to be one of those, lower round wide receivers or mid-round wide receivers that can come in and have an impact. I like the fact that his confidence in everything we've seen from him, at least from the media perspective, the things we've heard about him, and when you talk about the tape and the film and the things that we know, Brad Holmes led him to making this pick, like not just making the pick, coveted him.
They traded up.
Traded up.
A lot of people didn't like the trade.
I'm telling you, this stuff is making me more and more excited. I'm trying to keep it as composed as possible because we haven't even gotten to regular training camp and such. Yeah. But I am very, very excited about this pick.
Just a side note about Isaac Teslaa, and it really shows when he sits down for an interview. Doesn't he just look like typical good-looking white Gen Z young man? Like if you could build a starter pack, he's got like the curly mullet, the short.
Your Ryan Lentz is showing right now, Sam.
I was gonna say, do you know what he looks like? He looks like, and you guys will know, you guys will understand this more like infinitely Kool-Aid and a JB. Isaac Teslaa looks like if Ryan Lentz and Griffin Lackey had a baby.
Oh my God. That is true.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy?
Why is that true? JP, voice of reason. You're the voice of reason. Oh my God.
I mean, that's kind of spot on. Like, I wasn't even thinking about that, but like now that you said it, yeah, that is spot on.
Shout out to Griff, dog.
Go ahead.
I wish more people knew Griff. I know they don't see Ryan Lentz often, but shout out to Ryan as well, man. What up, dog? Oh, and here's another Ryan. What up, intern Ryan?
Yesterday, I remember on Big D Energy Show, they had top 5 best-looking guys of all time.
Yeah.
Does Isaac Teslaa make that list now? I mean,
the top 5 humans is what the list was.
No,
Ryan
they had
Lentz's hottest guys.
Lentz did it. Lentz did his own list.
Yeah. He had
And
the hottest guys.
Isaac Teslaa was just off. He loves Isaac Teslaa.
Yeah, Ryan Lentz
So
has
I
a
was
type.
just wondering if Teslaa was going to end up making that list.
Ryan Lentz has a type.
I don't think he would be on my list.
We've
with
talked
all
about
due
this.
respect, but
He likes sunshine from
has a
Remember the
type.
Titans, you know?
that's a good looking dude too.
Which has a
I
type.
look into the camera too. This is crazy, dog.
Hey, but I think Isaac Teslaa will be on some people's list. I mean, he's a very nice-looking young man. God, I sound old, but I think if he catches a couple of touchdowns, that'll make him.
Terrell Lamar said he looks like he's about to be on every Detroit commercial we got. I will not
Oh,
be
he
surprised
will.
if I like wake up one day and it's no longer Stafford, but it's Isaac Teslaa talking about pizza.
Oh my goodness!
Well, he's twice as
he gonna be
nice.
a
He's
cult
wearing number
hero?
18.
What'd you say?
I said he's twice as nice. He's wearing number 18. Stafford was number 9.
Hey,
Isaac Teslaa here for Cure Insurance.
yeah, you already know that's on the way. He probably's like, hey, I'm a raw. How do I get that hookup, man? Sheesh. We got the next clip though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, let me just give a little bit of a title to it so JB knows which one to play. And this is Isaac Teslaa. This is another piece of evidence of how he might have an underdog mentality. Isaac Teslaa didn't receive an initial invite to the NFL Combine or the Senior Bowl. Go ahead and play that one if you would, JB.
I got you.
How was the combine? How was the process?
It was awesome. I didn't have a combine invite initially. I didn't have a Senior Bowl invite initially. Yeah, so I started at the Hula Bowl. So I was a late invite to the Hula Bowl, which is a little bit like lower below the Senior Bowl. Ended up doing really well there. There was a Senior Bowl rep there, but the roster was full. So if anyone ended up getting hurt or dropping out, then I was going to fill in. So that ended up happening. Had a really good week at the Senior Bowl. Got my combine invite. Did really well at the combine. So for me, it was just like getting those opportunities and just making the most of them and showing what I can do.
Right. What was the weirdest question that they asked the team at the combine? Because I know there's some weird ass questions. I was asked like to say the alphabet backwards.
Seriously?
Like weird stuff. What's the weird?
I didn't have anything like that. I just had people ask me that question. I really don't know how to answer because most of them were like pretty normal. The only one that I didn't really know how to answer was someone asked me if they called my head coach, what's the worst thing they'd say about me.
Right.
I was just like, I feel like he likes me. I feel like I do a lot of things well. I really don't know what he would say.
Exactly.
That was a weird one.
Yeah, nah. I feel like everyone has those stories, but I feel like some teams are always different. I feel like there's certain teams that are known for asking those weird questions.
Could you do the alphabet backwards right now?
Yeah, I did. Right now, ooh,
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
that's super.
Yeah.
It was hard. It took me like, I was sitting there. Mine was on Zoom because we had COVID. So like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
on
yeah.
Zoom over here looking at the dude like, he probably thinks I'm an idiot.
No, that's hard. Alphabet backwards is difficult. I couldn't do it right now. I
Nah,
couldn't do
It's a
much,
variety
but-
test.
yeah.
But you're a big guy. What'd you run in the 40?
4.43.
Wow. That's impressive. You guys got
We
lines?
got,
Michigan?
we got some shit. Yeah.
You got some
Yeah,
shit?
yeah, yeah.
You got
They're
some
bad
shit,
knows
for
what he's
sure.
doing.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Look, the more Isaac Teslaa speaks, the more I'm just like, I can't wait to see this guy out there on the football field. And Weezy 313 says he's a good-looking guy, but he ain't no Coke Keith or Kerry Bonds though. Shout out Weezy.
See, I think Riley Green's better looking than all of them. No bias whatsoever.
And I had to get one of our other interns in the picture as well, because I'm thinking I see a little bit of Isaac Teslaa. I see it, man. I see some resemblance there.
Man,
I gotta
I don't
ask the
know.
people how close this is, man.
Isaac Teslaa Jr., everybody.
Talk to you, man.
Man, I don't know. It's just the hair, I think.
You think it's just the hair?
I think so.
What about the skills? You got any football skills?
Yeah, not like that.
Not at all. But
No hands. I
what-
play defense.
But what about Isaac Teslaa? Obviously, there's a lot of hype around this draft for the Detroit Lions, man. You hype about it? What do you think he's going to be able to do this year?
Man, I like him. I think the tape looks good coming out of like the training camps as well. I was one of the people that was a little skeptical about the trading up to get him, but I mean, I trust Brad Holmes. If he covets the guy, then I'll mess with him. So that's where I'm at on it. But I've just been seeing the stuff out of camp, and I think it looks pretty good.
Well, and this is another example of just, I think Isaac Teslaa, he understands how things could have gone a different way, and that the fact that he was able to showcase his skills in like the Senior Bowl and the Combine, that's really what had him become the prospect that he is. Because if I'm just looking at NFL.com, just basically grading him as a prospect, this is staggering. His production score was 53, which is really, really bad out of 100. His athleticism score, 96. First of all receivers in the entire Combine. And we know how much Brad Holmes loves those RAS scores. And we know, a lot of us as college football fans, how there's a lot of context to it, but his numbers, they weren't great in a total, in accounting stats way, but he also made the most of his touches. So there's a lot of context, but I know probably one of the pieces of skepticism about him is that Andrew Armstrong, who was on his same team, he actually did put up really good numbers despite the bad quarterback play, and Isaac Teslaa just didn't get as many targets and opportunities. But this is where getting to combines, getting to workouts and Senior Bowls and whatnot, this was his chance, and he ran with it. He showed the world what an athletic freak that he actually is. If you are number one in terms of all Combine receivers in terms of athleticism score, you are a 1 in 500 million type athlete or 100 million type athlete. And Isaac Teslaa, hopefully he parlays that into being a good draft pick for the Lions. I suspect he'll contribute something in year one, maybe more than we think.
Yeah, and that's where I think you have to stop short. You can't say that he's not going to contribute anything, because I don't think that you covet somebody like that. And don't believe, especially when you look at the back end of the wide receiver room, yes, there is stuff that you can work with, but if Isaac Teslaa is what it appears to be, when you cover someone like that, you trade up for him, you're giving up extra capital to get this player, you're expecting this player to be something. That's what it directly telling us. How soon? We know that Brad Holmes has this approach of maybe they're not a need today, but they're a need that we foresee down the road. But to be able to get there, especially with what people are saying concerning J-Mo and his contract and such, wide receiver 3s and 4s, we do like Tim Patrick. But what if Isaac Teslaa can prove to be even just a little bit better? And that's why I'm glad he's going to have everything in front of him to be able to go out there and take that day one. Because that's how the Lions do things. It's not about this person's just nestled into this position. Nah, he has everything in him to go out there and work. And that's why I'm glad that at the very least, most people believe, even at the bare minimum, he's going to still be somebody serviceable. I've seen people believe he's going to be one of those 300 to 400 yard receivers this season.
And that's where Isaac Teslaa, as a prospect on this Detroit Lions team, is just so fascinating, because at least as a rookie, there's so many ways in which it can go. And I've mentioned this before, but Tim Patrick, we love what he did last year. The previous 2 years, he had an ACL and an Achilles. So by that, he's probably never going to be what he was at his peak athleticism. He's still going to be damn good, and I don't think that Isaac Teslaa just comes in and takes wide receiver 3 away from him, but Tim Patrick's only here for one more year under contract. It's a cheap contract. You worry about him with injury. If an opportunity presents itself for Isaac Teslaa, maybe he contributes more than we think.
That's what Ed O'Neill's asking. That was perfect, actually. He's asking, who does he take the targets from?
He might not.
The opportunities present.
And that's where he might not ball out in terms of counting stats his rookie year, because Jameson Williams, is there some concern about future? Yes. This year? No. But this year, no. Jameson Williams, as long as he's healthy, he'll be here. Amon-Ra St. Brown is locked up under a long-term good contract for a while. Sam Laporta still has a couple of more years. Jahmyr Gibbs is a heck of a threat. You never know about Khalif Raymond. It could be one of those situations where Isaac Teslaa is more of a gadget player, at least as a rookie. But what if he isn't? What if there is some injury concerns this year? What if down the road, Jameson Williams isn't high enough of a priority to give a super expensive contract to. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying you have to look at it.
Yeah.
What if
And you're not
Laporta
saying he won't be worth it. You're just saying to the Lions plans, can they support a top wide receiver? Because he's going to if he takes any step forward, that contract is going to be stupid.
And that's the thing. Are the Lions going to be able to pay down the road Laporta, J-Mo, and Gibbs? Probably not all three. Probably not all three. And that's where Isaac Teslaa, it's not just about this year. It's about if he can be a long-term replacement in terms of production or archetype of player for any of these guys. I think the only one who he does have somewhat of an archetype to is J-Mo because of the athleticism, although he's not as fast. But it's not just for this year, it's for the future. But if injuries present themselves, if Isaac Teslaa just beats Tim Patrick out of camp, which I doubt would happen, but I won't hold it against him, that's where he might step in and do more than we all expect him to, even as a rookie.
Yeah, because I don't want to disrespect Tim Patrick. We all love what he brought to this squad, and when he got comfortable and in a rhythm, it was like, yeah, we have been missing that. That we talked about that big body receiver, that X receiver. So I do like what he brings to the table. But if Teslaa is the type of player that can beat him out, we do know that this team is the one. They value that, and it will prove, I think, better for this team overall in the long run. Dante151 believes that Khalif Raymond might be the odd man out.
Could be.
But same question to you, man. Ed O'Neill says, who does he take targets from? And I guess the more appropriate question to you is, that dude Justin, is what do you expect from him this season? Do you think he has a good shot at that wide receiver 3 or being able to pass up a Khalif Raymond for potentially wide receiver 3-4?
I think he definitely could pass up Khalif Raymond, and that's because of the consistency he has in the level of hands. He had 0 drops in college, and he has a very big frame, and it's going to be very difficult for guys like linebackers and smaller corners to be able to guard him out of the slot. So I think he does bring a very intriguing matchup nightmare for a lot of teams, and I think that there will be times where you see the Lions coaching staff exploit that advantage, and I think they're going to put him in positions to succeed, a lot like how they did with J-Mo his rookie year and when they were trying to integrate him into the offense. I don't think it will be even as major as they did with J-Mo, but I think that they will slightly ramp him up and give him more plays and more opportunities to expose those mismatches that he creates. I mean, he's 6'3", he's huge, he's fast, he's got great hands, he's got a crisp with the route running, but you can put him in a position where the route running isn't necessarily the biggest factor in him getting the ball because of how quick he is. If he has a linebacker on him and he runs a quick drag, he's going to be able to burn that linebacker, and he's going to be able to create that matchup to be able to exploit that defense.
I feel like he could be a forgotten man in that offense.
Well, the thing is too, Justin, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, Isaac Teslaa, whether or not he's successful or even lives up to the hype eventually or better than the hype, it's all about exploiting mismatches. He's a interesting player, as you said, a 6'4", hyper-athletic slot receiver. At least that's what he was in college. We'll see how he's integrated in this offense. But that's, to me, and I get it, it's not the biggest challenge because he's not going to be one of the highest priorities this season, but that's where John Morton, is John Morton the type of offensive coordinator that can exploit these things and, draw up some packages for Isaac Teslaa? It's weird because on one hand, I don't think the Lions need him this year, but as a super gadget player who makes a couple of big plays based off of putting him in advantageous matchups, it's certainly something that gets me pretty bricked thinking about. I'll just say that.
Because, I like Khalif Raymond, 5'8". When you talking about Tim Patrick, 6'4", when you talking about Tesla's height, that's where I'm just like, man, dog, I feel like you can give. And I don't want to disrespect Khalif Raymond because he's been really, really good for this squad. But that's where I'm hoping to see some good things out of Teslaa this year, way sooner than later. And I see ZZZ Lion says saving money is great, but it doesn't win you a Super Bowl. It doesn't win you a Super Bowl was where I'll cut that off. And I think that it was going back to the J-Mo comments when we said, trust me, they're not trying to save money. They're spending money. They're spending a whole lot of money. It's just you run out of money at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
That's going to be the problem with the Lions. They're cashing out. They've been just doling out the contracts. We were wondering, is Kirby going to get a deal? When he got a deal, I think that significantly decreased the opportunity or the chances of someone like a J-Mo. You only have so many of these things that you're just going to cash out. I want J-Mo here long term, but it's not saving money if he winds up being an odd man out. They still got Hutch and Branch and Gibbs and all of these other people that are coming down the pipeline to be able to get that contract. And J-Mo hopefully find a way to make it work. But wouldn't you want your GM to at least have a few things going, a few irons in the oven at least?
Absolutely, because there's a salary cap. You can only spend so much. And before we move on to what's trending, this is kind of more of a fun topic that they talked about on the St. Brown podcast, and this is something that our social media team posted, talking about the touchdown celebrations. JB, this will be fun to talk about for a sec.
Who do you think's got the best cellies on the team?
Besides me, I would say
No, not besides you.
Besides me, I would say Jameer, because me and Jameer are the ones talking for the most part.
Yeah.
It's like me and him during the week we're texting each other TikToks and shit, and then J-Mo like game day will come up to us like, "What you about to do?" But I'm like, J-Mo, you should have been thought about this. Like,
J-Mo
he's
has
like,
he has some crazy ones.
yeah, some random shit, bro. He's gonna come up.
No, what was the
comes
one?
up with his celly.
Was it a playoff one that he did that?
After he scores, he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna hump the ground." Or like,
Well,
That was the
Good
craziest
games
thing.
for
No
good.
flag. I was like, yo, that was insane.
I definitely got to find.
That was playoffs, right?
yes, bro.
That was actually
That shit was
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah, look, bro,
Wow.
as painfully as the season ended, a new season allows you to be able to at least look back just a little bit at some of those funny moments last year. And I forgot all about that one.
Oh
He
yeah,
was humping the ground.
and I like this, and I'm not like the biggest fan of theatrics and celebrations, although I don't mind them. It doesn't move the needle that much for me. But when I look at this conversation, I mean, they're all talking together. Like Amon-Ra and Isaac Teslaa are a part of that conversation together. So coming up next year, I'm kind of curious to see what Tesla's touchdown celebrations would be. And actually, to piggyback off of that, this is a little bit more of a serious question, although it has a bit of a fun angle to it. Over under, everyone in this room can answer. Touchdowns for Isaac Teslaa next season. This isn't the over under. This is mine. 4.5.
Oh.
That's
4.5 touchdowns for Tesla. Oh man, even I want to say yes, I want to, but I can see it being a situation where it's. I can see him getting like 3 or 4, but if he actually reaches the level, I don't know, man. I can see it being like 3 or 4.
Okay.
I might have to say under just because I could see it being 4 touchdowns.
I don't hate that. Go ahead, Chase.
What was the number for over/under?
4.5 touchdowns for Isaac Teslaa this year. My over/under, not Vegas's.
I'll say under. I think he'll only get 4.
Okay,
So-
JB.
I gotta shoot with the under on this one as well too. As much as I like the guy, I just don't think that it's going to be there a lot. But however, I will put a jersey bet on this. I do think by the end of the regular season, he will be wide receiver 3.
Okay, then you'll get a Teslaa
that's
jersey.
you, Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Dingler, and that's just receiving touchdowns. If he plays any special teams and has an opportunity to run one back, does that count?
Yes, it does. I should have been more specific. And if anyone wants to change their answer, because
Nah.
all right, yeah.
Well, coolest thing about I'll rip my
ahead.
answer. I think that it's an under. I just don't see with how many mouths we have to feed. Like you're gonna have a healthier Laporta this year. You're gonna have J-Mo coming into his own even more than he was last year. People already are projecting J-Mo to have this heavy increase in targets to take away from St. Brown. I just don't see more receivers being able to take into those yards like J-Mo will and like Laporta will.
The one thing that I will say is this: the type of quarterback and the style of play that Jared Goff has, and I'm so glad they highlighted it last year when the offense was kind of sputtering. It's that timing, that stuff that they open up across the middle. And I do believe that Teslaa has an opportunity to have the same effect that J-Mo did. When I remember I sat here on this show, and Terry Foster was like, "Who's going to lead the Lions in reception yards the first week?" And I said, "I think J-Mo." Said, "Nah, don't be thinking like what's Amon-Ra." I said, "All J-Mo needs is 4 catches, and that boy could have like 120 million yards." But that's what he does. And I do believe that Teslaa, if he gets a few opportunities, what are they going? What the defense is keying in on him? Or are they keying in on all those other players? So if he takes advantage of his few opportunities, I actually think he is one of those guys that has the opportunity to sneak up and have a few of those touchdowns, similar like we saw Tim Patrick do. We saw that was J-Mo too. I remember the old conversations, and I do believe that J-Mo's skill set and his draft positioning, it warrants that. But I remember the old conversations of how effective is he really? And our brother Jeff used to talk about every time he touches the ball, It's a touchdown.
That's
though.
a little overblown for the record. Just for
It
the
can
record.
be a little overblown, but when you talk about there being a possibility for a player who might not really get a whole lot of targets, we have seen that happen here in
I
Detroit.
get what you're saying. So you could see Teslaa getting like 20 catches or 22 touches and like 4 or 5 touchdowns. I get what you're saying by that. And to give my answer really quick, I'm going to go under. And this is an all-encompassing touchdowns. And especially because I see some people in the chat and I see
I'm
people,
still under, by the way.
Yeah, I see people in the chat. I see people on social media, even fellow hosts at this network. And this isn't a bad opinion, by the way. That'll have J-Mo getting 1,310 touchdowns, Amon-Ra getting 1,410 touchdowns, Laporta maybe getting 800, 900, 5 to 8 touchdowns. At some point, there's only one ball, and we haven't even taken into account Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Tim Patrick, and whatnot. So I'm going to go under. I think Isaac Teslaa's touches will be somewhat limited, but he will have a couple of explosive plays, and I would say that he will make the most out of his opportunities. My only caveat is if there's injuries, knock on wood, that's where it could change. But for now, I'm going to factor that in and say that even with not knowing what I know now, or not knowing then what I know now, which I'll know more by then, I still say under 5.
If Tim Patrick wasn't here and it was just Khalif Raymond, I would actually take the over on that. Because it would be that they're drafting him here as a clear cut. You will be the 3 or the 4 this year. But with Tim Patrick here, and just to put some things in perspective, you look at his stats. He, as the wide receiver, 3 last year? I want to say 33 receptions, 394 yards, 11.9 average per catch. So he made a lot with his opportunities, but still just 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he didn't play the whole year,
Yeah.
so that plays into it as well. But yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Touchdowns, I'm not saying that they're random, but you can still be a low usage player and get a lot of touchdowns if you just make the most of it. If it's determined that Isaac Teslaa is a big red zone threat, which he is a big receiver. So you just
What do you think of
never
the
know.
people that think this way, though? Just real quick. J-Mac, Teslaa, white Megatron.
That's insane.
Nicole, white Megatron. We shall see.
That's
I
Looney
heard this
Tunes.
from draft night, and I'm seeing. I didn't think it would pop up in our chat, but here you go. I'm like, guys, Megatron's an all-time great. As much Kool-Aid as I will drink for our current players, I am telling you guys, let's not disrespect him.
We don't need
Let's
him to
not
be
do that.
Megatron. Calvin Johnson, to me, is the most gifted receiver to ever play the game. Not greatest, but one of the greatest and the most talented to me. It's either him or Randy Moss. So, Isaac Teslaa is not that, but that's okay. That's more than okay. The only type of players who can rival that are guys like Jefferson and Chase, and even they're not on the level in terms of
Circus
talent.
Kirkus.
Yeah,
I'm just playing. We had some years, bro. We had some years. Shout out to Byron, $2 super chat. Will Teslaa's first touchdown be inside or outside the red zone?
I'm gonna say inside because it's 20 yards, or 20 or less yards, and it's a lot to ask for somebody's debut touchdown to be like a 30-yarder or something. So I'm gonna be safe.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be bold. I'm gonna say red zone.
Like a quick strike guy gets the ball, you can see him run it in the next 10 yards. Like something across the middle, like Justin said, that drag right across the middle, and then you can see him just kind of running in behind, Penei Sewell, moving like several people down the field.
I could see it now. Maybe 3rd and 6 from like the 18 or something.
Yes. That's